Welcome everyone to the show. Thank you so much for joining me as always. I really do appreciate it big time. And I'm very much looking forward to getting into the energies of May. Now we're going to carry on the May energy update from last week. So last week we talked about the ascension symptoms that many were experiencing through the gateway, the eclipse gateway. And I'm so curious what all of you felt because it was definitely intense. I know speaking to many people, there was a lot of intensity for many people. But what I also found is that it was very revealing. And in my personal situation, it was very revealing within the mental sphere of my being, my mental body, thoughts and different thoughts that I didn't even really realize were programmed from maybe long before. And we talk about that, but it's so interesting when something surfaces and you can see it with clarity and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't realize I had that thought running in the back of my mind or this or that. So to me, I found this experience very shifting within the mental body, but also I am noticing these different alignments of things. And so I'm curious what many of you are feeling too. And feel free to leave a comment of your experience if you want in the comment section below. But the energy of May, I have to say, is very full. It's like a full bouquet of flowers. It's not just a little measly bouquet, but this is a full bouquet. And the reason I say that is that what Spirit kept saying to me over and over is April showers bring May flowers. And if I could say anything, that would literally be the theme for May. All of the things that got rained on through the stormy weather, so to speak, metaphorically as well, brings these beautiful blooms and flowers this month. And it really does, even in the energetics. So if there was one phrase to remind yourself of what this energy is about, is April showers bring May flowers. So now we're in May and we get to have this beautiful full bouquet of all kinds of stories, alignments, pairings, all of that. So we're going to get into a lot of different themes here. Now the first one is major reevaluations is what Spirit is saying. There are major reevaluations happening for us this May based on everything that we have uncovered through April and really actually from the beginning of the year. So April, the energy finally really kicked off moving forward into 2023. We shook off the energy of 2022 and now we have an ability to really see those alignments, those things coming to fruition. And as we have alignments come in, we also still get to continue to reevaluate. Does this align? Is this what I want? Does this feel right? We have the ability to continually reevaluate our situation and then shift it according to what feels more aligned. It's not that we just ask for something once and then that's it, and so it is. It's this reevaluation. So Spirit is saying, take this opportunity to reevaluate and see, are there any places where there are any false assumptions that still sit within you? And that's the second point, is false assumptions, because they're saying there are, in some cases, simply misunderstandings. And if we let go of either our previous knowledge about something or our need to be right about that knowledge and then see it for what it is, we may realize that we made a false assumption. And once we recognize that, that might actually be the key that unlocks us to a desired alignment. So within these reevaluations, notice where maybe there may be a false assumption. And that may be a false assumption within yourself, or it may be within somebody else in which you get to help them realize where they have a false assumption by sharing your knowledge or your understandings. So those are really interesting this month. And again, they show that to me just in the fact of realignment, redesigning, noticing these finite details. And I spoke last week, I can't remember what day it was, but about finite details. And so that's something that's really significant for us to remember. Now, another thing with this reevaluation is changes and transformation. So Spirit said that by mid-May, we're going to be seeing a lot of clarities and a lot of reveals within our 3D world. So these alignments that we've been waiting for or seeing that they're coming together, we're going to really notice this mid-May. And for some reason, I'm being shown May 14th in my mind. I'm not sure why specifically May 14th, but that's the number that keeps coming into my mind. So these reveals and alignments, like, again, May 14th is like bringing you the bouquet that you've been working on. And so it's kind of this beautiful reveal of how all these things can come together. So in and around that time, really notice what's starting to unfold in your life. Because for many of you that have been doing the work, and then also working on like the mental sphere of really what you think and how much your thoughts really matter, you're going to start to see how this is manifesting into your world, your reality. Because remember, our realities are really dictated by our thoughts and what we think. What we choose to see holds value, and what we choose to release, that doesn't hold value. And everybody's reality is different because it's based on what they see as important. So there can be many different realities kind of happening at the same time. And so again, around May 14th, notice what is coming together for you. Now, the other thing I want to say too is coming off of the heels of Friday, May 5th, we had that huge alignment of 555, the 5th day of the month, the 5th month, and then the 5th day of the week, which is a Friday. Excuse me. Interesting thing with that is all transformation. 5 is a number that represents change and transformation. And so Spirit has been saying that this month is about change and transformation. So we're going to see a lot of that. So I'm curious for many of you what came to fruition around that time with the lunar eclipse on that day and the full moon. All of those are endings for new beginnings, change, transformation. So we're going to see more of what this reveals this month, and that's really exciting. Now, another thing Spirit is saying is there's a lot of jumping of timelines still happening. And they said this is basically because we're always shifting timelines based on our thoughts. But there are 3 specific timelines right now that are really, really close together. And when I see them in my mind, the center one is the most dense looking. But there are 2 on either side that are kind of like these shadows, but not shadows in a negative. It's just the best way I can describe it. They're a little less dense, but they continue to kind of merge in and then merge out of that main central timeline. So we have a crossover that seems to happen within these 3 different timelines, which sometimes can make our perception of our reality a little wonky. You can feel like you had conversations, but then you're in a different timeline and that conversation didn't happen, but it's real to you. This is where the whole quantum world really starts to step into our reality, and it's quite interesting. Now within that, we'll also notice timeline changes in terms of our experience of time itself. We'll notice sometimes where time seems to be lengthening or time seems to be shortening, and our experience of a certain chunk of time is drastically different than another's depending on our frequency. And so that can also alter which timeline itself we feel like we're in. So if I was to describe time and also the blending, merging timelines, would be almost like if you pictured a braid, a French braid. It's almost like a French braid where you're bringing in these different pieces, and sometimes one piece comes in from a long ways away way on the side of the head, whereas another one comes in right from that central point. All of them are experiencing being braided in, but from different perspectives and locations. Therefore, their experience is different. It's kind of the best way I can explain it. So notice how within this, there's a lot of shifting thoughts for you. And this all plays into that whole reevaluation and false assumptions, because these shifting thoughts change depending on the timeline. And really, instead of letting that totally overwhelm us, what I got from Spirit is they're like, allow this to be an opportunity for you to try on different things, try on different perspectives, different thoughts, different desires of where you're going. All of it helps you realign your path. It's kind of like when you go to the store and you try on a bunch of different outfits. You try on a bunch of different ones to see which ones align with you best and what feels most like you. It's kind of like that is what's happening to us right now. And so when those different thoughts come in, allow it the space to be heard, seen, experienced, and then choose if you align with it or not. Because it may in fact give you an insight or an experience into something you hadn't thought of before, but it may very well be in your highest trajectory, right? The highest alignment of your life path. But if you quickly decide it's a no and you're like, no, not interested, not happening, then you may miss out on a higher leap in your own evolutionary consciousness. So there's these beautiful shifts happening right now, and it's really important for us not to get caught up in the whirl of it, feeling like we're losing our mind, losing track of reality, forgetting things. Oh, I'm so bad, I'm so forgetful, what's wrong with me? Instead, shift into, wow, look at how much things are changing in the energetic level. Look at what the universe is offering me right now in ideas. And no matter what it offers, I still get to decide what aligns best for me. So say, for example, one of these alignments is you have an opportunity to move, right? Say you have an opportunity to move. And at first you're like, oh my goodness, yes, I do want to move. This is right. Holy, I would have never expected this. And then another day comes by and you're like, you know what? Actually, although it's really neat, I don't think that feels the best for me. And so then it helps you realize how rooted you are in your current reality and how great that is. So in a sense, then it reinforces more gratitude for where you currently are. So whether you take the move or you don't take the move, if you take the lesson and why it's being brought forward, you're going to be more rooted in who you are. So these really are blessings. They really are. So we have to catch where we are falsely assuming something or holding on to an old narrative. Now, another thing that Spirit said is we're stepping into this opportunity now of like rapid expansion. We're getting ready to move into higher levels of awareness by embracing our life experiences. So again, this is why we're reevaluating, because we're recognizing our life experiences right now. This is huge, so huge. When we take all the lessons from our life experiences, the good ones, the tough ones, the lucky breaks, all of it, we then get to have, again, this beautiful bouquet of all kinds of flowers that represent every aspect of our journey. And when we bring all of those flowers, we then get to color our future with so many more colors. We get to have so much more rather than if we just stuck with one thing or one way of being. So in this time of expansion, it's so valuable to go into your soul, into your heart energy, go within and uncover your true feelings about things. So if you go back through your experiences and kind of look at them through new eyes, new lenses, and see what else did you learn from that? What else did you gain from that? You have the opportunity to uncover deeper truths, which then add more color to your experiences moving forward. It'll give you greater wisdom for the decisions you make going forward. So with all of the things that I'm bringing up right now, Spirit is kind of showing it to me like a web, like a spider web. And the spider web, I have to say, is one of the most beautiful symbols for creation, destiny, divine timing, all of these kinds of things, because it's a weaving of a web where all parts join back together at the center to create this home, right? To create a life, a safety net. All of these things happening right now are anchoring in the center point with the number 5 being May, being change, transformation. So when we reevaluate, when we recognize our false assumptions, when we allow the changes and transformations to appear, when we move through the shifting timelines and shifting thoughts with consciousness, we recognize the expansion, the soul searching. All of this helps us to more fully transform and make that happen in our 3D reality, which is exciting. And I have to say, all of this wouldn't be happening now if we weren't ready for it. If we weren't ready for it, we would still be going through major tower moments. But within each and every one of you, especially those listening to this kind of content, you've already shifted so much. And so now it's about recognizing how much you have shifted and where you're going now because of it. What's fallen into your path now because of it. All of this comes back to you. And that's an amazing thing. So, in order to keep you in your best energy with all of this, is be sure to have regular energy clearing so that you can stay on top of your thoughts. And so that energy clearing can really be balancing work and rest, right? Not working yourself into oblivion because you got to take advantage of the time or the momentum, but rather work and then rest equal parts. As well, balancing what goes into your mental energy. How much are you thinking and trying to fix or do or create? How much are you balancing that with time that just nourishes your mental body? Joy, happiness, art, music, creativity just for the sake of creativity. Not creativity for work or creativity for financial gain, but just simply being creative. Spending time in nature or with animals or with family. Just being, going for coffee and just talking about whatever. There's this balance piece that helps us move through this so much. And if we notice we're a little bit off balance, that's okay. But when we take time to kind of assess and notice we're off balance, then we do the things to clear our energy to shift it back into balance. Because you really being kind of in the driver's seat of your mental body right now is going to help you so much with how you move through the rest of May, then into the month of June. So, all to say, there's a lot of beautiful energies coming up for us to move through. Lots of freedom coming through for many people. This kind of like freedom of expression, freedom of being held back, again, because that's to do with all the transformations, especially around the eclipse gateway. A lot of you let go of a lot of stuff. So you're now sitting in an energy, or you're about to be, of freedom of soul expression. That's a beautiful place to be. A beautiful place to be. So notice what is wanting to come out. What is wanting to be expressed from you. And you'll often find that in those moments of joy, play, and creativity. As well, for many of you, these transformations are making clear pathways for true love in partnerships. We're really starting to see that come in now, which is really beautiful, is these beautiful divine partnerships. All the clearing, all the work, the expansion, the reevaluation is clearing the path for love to find you in your life. And for some of you, that might be a romantic partnership. For others, it might be bonded friendships, soulmates, which can come in many, many forms. Again, not all romantic, but love, energy in its purest form is on its way to you because you're making a path for it. You're getting rid of the old, outdated programs that make your frequency not match with that of the highest trajectory for you. You're getting rid of victim mentality. You're realizing choice is your greatest gift and that you get to use it. All of this stuff is helping us to move forward, and we're going to see a lot of that this May. So I will leave that with all of you. I do want to say one last thing from the guides right now is they're saying, please follow the signs. We're dropping a lot of signs for many of you. So again, number patterns, songs, dream state awareness, all of that kind of stuff. Notice those things because the signs are leading you in the direction you need to go. And I do want to say one last thing too, one extra last thing. The signs that you get should never leave you feeling nervous, scared, or fearful. That is not of the highest light. The signs that you get should be ones that leave you feeling comforted, held, and supported, regardless of what it is. So something to consider when you're receiving signs. All right, everyone, that's all I have for you for this May so far. So I'm curious how it unfolds for you. Feel free to share in the comments if you want. I love it when you guys share parts of your story. It's beautiful. It's beautiful energy. So I hope the energy of May is very fruitful for each and every one of you. And I want to thank you again so much for joining me on the show. And I will see you all next week. Have a good one.